All right, welcome to our explainer. Today, we are diving deep into an incredible essay that connects one of the universe's most fundamental laws to, well, pretty much everything about human civilization. So get ready for Monotheism and the Law of Everything. I know, it sounds like the beginning of a really weird joke, doesn't it? But according to the source material for this explainer, these three things are all linked by this powerful, invisible force that's constantly shaping our world. The answer, it turns out, isn't found in culture or technology, but in the basic laws of the universe itself. To even begin to answer that question, we've got to start with physics. See, the author argues that the entire universe is on a fundamental one-way road, a law that literally dictates the direction of time. And that concept? It's called entropy. It comes from the Second Law of Thermodynamics, and it basically says that everything in the universe naturally moves from a state of order toward disorder. It's not some spooky force, it's just pure probability. Think about it. There are millions of ways for your room to be messy, but only a few ways for it to be perfectly neat. The universe just favors the odd. Okay, now, to really get this argument, you have to kind of flip your understanding of order and disorder. This is probably the most important idea in the whole explainer. In this context, order doesn't mean a clean desk. It means complexity, it means diversity, lots of different things coexisting. And disorder? That's the opposite. It's uniformity, it's sameness, a predictable kind of bland state. So when we say the universe is moving toward disorder, what we're really saying is it's on a one-way trip from maximum diversity toward total sameness. And this image just nails the core idea. The author's point is that this downward arrow, this constant pull towards entropy, doesn't just apply to stars and gases. No, it applies to everything, including our culture, our economies, and, yep, even our beliefs. So you might be thinking, okay, if everything's moving towards sameness, what about life? What about us? We're super complex. Well, the author presents life not as some grand exception to the rule, but as a really fascinating part of the whole process. So here's the kicker. Life isn't fighting entropy. It's actually a super clever temporary detour. By creating these little pockets of incredible order, life burns through energy and matter way more efficiently, and in doing so, it actually accelerates the universe's overall journey towards disorder. It's like taking a creative little scenic route on the main highway to uniformity. This graph from the essay shows you exactly how that works. Life takes simple stuff, and on that uphill path, it builds it into complex organisms. That's the creation of temporary order. But then, through living and breathing and just existing, it breaks things down, creating a much, much steeper downhill slide that ends up in a state of way more overall disorder than where it started. And that leads to this incredibly stark conclusion from the author. From a purely physical, thermodynamic point of view, the grand purpose of all life, you, me, everything, is to just be a really efficient engine for turning carbon dioxide into methane, which speeds up the universe's race to maximum entropy. It's a pretty wild thought, isn't it? Okay, so we've seen how this law works in physics and biology. But here's where the essay gets truly radical. The argument is that we are not exempt. Human civilization, with all its art and science and complexity, is being pulled by the very same force towards sameness. And the engine for this cultural entropy, it's a concept called mimetism. It's just our deep, basic human drive to imitate each other. We learn by copying, we form groups by acting the same, and this very process, well, it pushes us all toward uniformity. And you see this everywhere once you start looking for it. I mean, think about fashion. Blue jeans started as tough pants for miners, and now they're a global uniform. Or think about how big cities all over the world are starting to have the same shops, the same buildings, the same feel. That's mimetism in action. It's reducing diversity and creating one big uniform look. And this process has very real and kind of sad consequences. According to the source, we lose about 9 languages every single year. Each one that vanishes is a completely unique way of seeing the world, a unique cultural state that's just lost to uniformity. That's a direct measurement of cultural entropy increasing right before our eyes. The author also points to population data. And here's what's so counterintuitive. As the human population explodes, cultural diversity can actually shrink. In China, for example, you have a nation of 1.4 billion people, but over 91% of them belong to a single ethnic group, the Han. It's an absolutely powerful example of uniformity on a massive scale. So when you put all these pieces together, the thing we call globalization, you can start to see it through this new lens. It looks like a planetary-scale entropic process, a grand, steady movement away from thousands of distinct cultures toward one single, more uniform global culture. All right, now we get to the absolute heart of the argument. The author takes this huge idea of entropy and applies it to two of the most powerful forces in all of human history, our economies and our religions. Let's look at search engines. Back in the 90s, there were dozens of them. Remember Alta Vista, Lycos? It was a diverse, high-energy system. Today, one company, Google, has over 91% of the entire market. Now, according to the author, this isn't a failure of the free market. This is its natural entropic destination. Diversity collapses into the uniformity of a monopoly. And this is where the big aha moment happens. The author draws a direct line, a direct parallel. The move from a diverse marketplace with many companies to a uniform one with a single monopoly is, structurally, the exact same story as the move from a diverse belief system with many gods, polytheism, to a uniform one with a single god, monotheism. The essay lays it out as this clear entropic path for belief itself. You start with the high-diversity state of polytheism, thousands of gods, spirits, myths. Then that system collapses into the much more uniform state of monotheism, one god, one book, one truth. And if you follow that logic all the way to its ultimate conclusion, the author suggests that the state of maximum entropy, the most uniform state possible, is atheism, where the number of gods simplifies all the way down to zero. So, from this purely thermodynamic point of view, the global dominance of monotheistic religions isn't necessarily a story of spiritual progress. Instead, it's presented as one of the most powerful examples of a cultural system just following the second law, moving, unstoppably, from diversity toward uniformity. All of this leads to a really profound and honestly a kind of unsettling new way of looking at ourselves. If this universal law really applies to everything we build and everything we believe, then maybe we need a whole new science to understand our own story. The author wraps it up with this incredible quote from the famous anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss. He suggested that what we call civilization is really just a complex machine for creating entropy. And the study of this process, this slow disintegration into sameness, shouldn't be called anthropology. It should be called entropology. And so we're left with this huge, challenging thought. If our entire civilization is just an engine designed to create cosmic disorder, a temporary, beautiful flash of complexity on the long road to universal sameness, then what does that mean for our future? Thanks for joining us.